Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, All Things Jesus. My name is Adriana, and today you're tuned into another episode of my series Lit, and that stands for Living in Truth. And here's where I showcase young men of God who are just trying to live out the Word of God in their practical everyday lives. And I want this to be encouragement to other young men who are trying to do the same thing, and other young women who are single and looking for their counterparts to be living the same kind of lifestyle. Today I have my brother as one of my guests.
Hi guys, my name is Jazer Willis. I'm 17 years old. I go to Mathematics, Civics and Science Charter School, and I'll be graduating soon, so that's cool.
That's cool, right? All right, so my first question for you is, what does it look like to you to be lit? Like practically, what does that mean to be a lit man of God?
Practically, to be lit to me means to have a consistent prayer life, to fast frequently, and to just seek the face of God in everything that you do.
Okay.
I think this is important to me because it keeps me on the right path. It keeps me grounded in my faith walk with the Lord. Just, having a simple talk with God in the morning, in the evening, just keeps me cool, keeps me grounded in the Word. And I think that's really important, is to stay grounded in your Word in everything that you do, and you will see that progression in your life.
Okay, cool. My second question for you is, you're 17 years old. How did you know that you've been called to preach?
I would say that my call to preach was not, I didn't receive it, just at 17. It was like an ongoing process. I would say as early as, 12 and 13, I felt the call of God on my life, in progressive ways. It would just heap upon me. Each time I would get older, I would, feel just a call and a certain fire inside of me that would just be like, I want to aspire to do this while I'm in church. I want to aspire to teach people about God and to minister to people and to help people in their walk with the Lord. So yeah, I didn't really know, I was called to preach just because people may say, you're called to preach because, you speak well, or just because you have this desire to tell people about the Lord, then you must be called to preach. That's the thing that people go to instantly. But I learned that I had to really just get along with God, and I had to, seek God's face, and I had to say, God, do you really want me to preach? Am I really the man to stand before people, or in whatever way that it may be? Am I really the person for you to just be the representative of your word?
Gotcha.
And to be the ambassador for your word, and to speak those holy things that are in your word. So, I went to God, and He showed me through His word and through many things that, yes, I am.
Okay, so you really made sure that you sought it out for yourself.
Yes.
You sought the Lord for yourself, basically. I think another follow-up question to that would be, you're called to preach. How do you do so unapologetically in this kind of climate that we're in? How do you do so when there's so much opposition?
Yeah, I would say, although it's hard to, and I've been in situations where it's like none of my friends want to hear what I'm saying. None of the people that I surround myself with want to hear what I'm saying. So I've learned a good way to change that is to ask God to change those surroundings and to change the people that you're around, and to just keep on pursuing your dream, keep on pursuing your goal that you have in mind, because no one can stop you. It's your life, and you live it the way you want to. So, whatever people may say, I think that you have it within you. If it's your call to preach and it's your gift, that you have it within you to chase it and to pursue it.
Okay, fair enough, and I agree wholeheartedly. Another question that I have for you is, what untraditional ways do you seek to share the gospel while still, being yourself and still having fun, because you're only 17 years old?
Yeah, I would say one untraditional way would be through my poetry. I'm a poet, and I surround myself in this worldly type of poetry group, and poems from A to Z about everything. And one thing that I promised myself that I would do is to include the gospel and include Jesus in every poem that I have. So in that way, people will look at me and say, oh, this is the poet that always talks about God. Or this is the poet that always has a little bit of Jesus, a little bit of something inside his poems. And that way, I am always ministering the gospel. I'm always giving people a little bit about Jesus. And they don't know it. And they, once they see me more and more, they realize I like him. And I respect that because he's true to what he is about. So that's one way that I get the gospel out, and I still have fun doing it. Poetry is my thing, and yeah.
Okay, so that's a clever way too. That's a clever way of witnessing without people maybe even knowing what you're doing until after the poem is over. Like, wait a minute, he just spit some truth about Jesus, whether they accepted it or not.
Right.
They heard it,
and that seed is planted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, cool. My next question for you is a big one. What difficulties do you face while being young and on fire for God? Some prime examples could be peer pressure, desires to do things that maybe are not of God, just different things that may come up.
I would say definitely peer pressure, because I'm 17 and all my friends, they do things that I don't necessarily agree with. But sometimes it can get so overwhelming that you find yourself slipping that climate and that sort of thing that they want to do, and for say partying, or guys around my age talk about girls a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I had this conversation with my friend the other day with a counselor, who was also a pastor at my school. We were talking about, certain circumstances that may arise and temptations that you may fall into.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this talk, and my counselor said to me, he said, we don't have the problem of drugs or drinking or, being just addicted to those things. We're more so, fall into temptations with females and stuff like that. So, me, my friend, and my counselor, we were talking about this, and it was true. I've struggled with just being around the guys and just, everybody talking about different things, and it's a struggle.
How do you fight those challenges? What do you find yourself doing in those moments where it is a struggle?
Going back to the Word and going back to having those daily devotionals. You find yourself recalling those scriptures. You find yourself actually thinking differently than what your friends may think, and they say something and you respond in a way that's you're actually putting those scriptures and you're giving it a voice.
You're able to use scriptures in that moment and speak it to yourself and speak it to them.
Exactly.
When temptation arises. So what would you say to someone else? What advice would you give them who say, look, I'm young and I don't really have time for this whole God thing. Like, I don't know how to do that. It seems like it's too hard. It's, Instagram here and this and that and parties and sex and women, So what advice would you give to that young man?
What advice I would have is to, if Instagram's a problem, if social media is a problem, or even the people you hang around, I would say just try to cancel it out. Instagram can be deleted. The people you hang around, you can change that, and prayerfully you can ask God to change that. Mm-hmm. Because most of our friends that we have, we know them for a long time, and we are scared to let that friendship go to waste. We feel like it's gonna, all these years that I have with this person, it's just gonna be wasted.
God can definitely change that, right? Because the word says that bad company corrupts good character.
Yes,
so God does not want you to be around people who are not going to be on that same wavelength that you're on.
Exactly.
Obviously, yes, you're going to need people that you need to witness to, and I'm quite sure that God uses you a lot to be a witness and to be a light in dark places. But when it gets to a point where you're being tempted, the Bible warns against that as well. Yes, you can help your brother or your sister, but not to the point where they will grab you and entice you in it. Yeah. So I think that it's very important that you said that. You can delete social media, and you can also walk away from friendships and people who don't respect your walk and constantly try to tempt you.
Right.
Okay. So my last thing for you, because you kind of already gave me advice for other young men of God, would be for you to give us a little snippet of a poem of your choice.
Sure. I'll do this poem that I recently did. I'll do only a little bit of it. It's called Black and Christian.
Okay.
So, here I go. On paper, I voted for Trump. On paper, I believe Jesus was a white man. On paper, you would think I am a white man. Christian, conservative. We bleed differently. I bleed red. White and blue, I bleed tradition and breed corruption. On paper, I am seated at the same table my grandparents cannot eat at. Today, I praise. Today, I say, give me back my paper. It is my flag. Because you see it, don't attempt to understand without asking, give me back my joy. Praise the joy. I am black and unashamed, praise the blackness. Behind my religion is a culture, respect that. It is not yours to tamper. Yes, I am a black man, but I am also Christian. My Christianity be pre-slave trade, be Ethiopian eunuch before any white man attempts to use my Jesus. Praise the scripts, praise the hair as wool, praise the skin like bronze.
This is no white man's religion. It is only mine. Praise the relationship between me and God. I am not a cadaver. People usually use me to dissect upon until my wounds are open and fresh, until my blood runs as thick as yours, and you wonder why we bleed the same. No, I am not perfect. I am a work in progress. Praise the progress. How we make resilience look like a head start we were never given. Do not base my identity on what you know to be true. This is what it means to be black and Christian. No, I ain't brainwashed. I only know it ain't impossible to be Christian and not assimilate white culture when you tell them you believe in Jesus. And they laugh in a way that resembles the cackling of fire. A smile with teeth sharp enough to crucify. Tell them there is a difference like Douglas. I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ. I therefore hate the corrupt, slave-holding, women-whipping, cradle-plundering, hypocritical Christianity of this land. This land knows not Christ, the man who wields the blood-clotted cowskin during the week, fills the pulpit on Sunday. He who proclaims it a religious duty to read the Bible, denies me the right to read the name of God who made me. This land knows not Christ. This land knows not the love of Christ, but I know a place fairer than day, a place where the sun goes to sleep, a place where the river flows from the north to the east side of Egypt, Libya, Alexandria, Africa, where the gospel started. Praise the good news. When they tell you we don't have royal ancestry, speak of King Solomon, Queen of Sheba, how we were here 1,500 years before the slave trade. Praise the expositors. When they tell you black and Christian ain't synonymous, let your voice be an orchestra, a symphony of silver-tongued orators, Tertullian, Origen, Athanasius, Augustine, the names that let us know this religion has roots 2,000 years too deep for easy interpretation. Reap what they sow. That's why God used not to show them a lesson. Praise lessons. Even when they try to make you afraid to be Christian, do not be afraid. Be a true bearer of light, a testament of what Christ left behind. In order to be Christian, you have to be in Christ. And in order to be black and Christian, just be.
So thank you so much for that. I think in today's world, the way that it's so much turmoil and people think that you're a sellout or you're Uncle Tom if you're a Christian and you're black, I think that that poem is very powerful. And you guys didn't hear all of it, but I was at his slam and I was able to hear the whole thing. And he really goes in and really goes into some history behind that thing. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for telling me what you think it means to be a young man who's living in truth.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. I mean, you kind of had to do it because you're my brother.
That is very true. That is very
but I pray you guys are encouraged by this. And this is a young man who I obviously have known all of his life. and he's been walking with the Lord, and the Lord has been teaching him his ways and teaching him how to just be sold out to him no matter what's going on around him. Of course he has struggles, and of course he may fall, but the Lord is showing him how to effectively be a single young man of God and truly live out the word of God in his everyday life. So I pray this encourages you guys. And as always, until next time, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. Bye, guys.